Welcome back to another FM chat. Today we are here with Holly and Tegan. And we're just going to talk about their final major projects.
So guys, where are you now? Did you stay in Southampton or did you go home?
So I'm still in Southampton. I did go home for a week at the beginning of lockdown, but then obviously lockdown got stricter. So I decided to come back, and yeah, I've just been here ever since, really.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I haven't actually moved out to Southampton at all throughout uni. I've just lived at home because I live just gone past Portsmouth, so I sort of commuted into
Not too far.
Yeah, so it was all right. And so yeah, I was at home, but home more often than I would have loved to be.
Mm-hmm. So if you just want to give like a brief roundup of what your final major project is.
So we started, our project is called Trait Agency, and it was sort of a project that we came up with for creatives and wanting to be able to provide a platform for people studying at Solent or university, in a way to like bring them together and have sort of a platform that was easily accessible, and yeah, just somewhere but like a hub for creatives. So if you knew you've got a project coming up, you could go to us, Trait Agency, and say, either, message us and say, I'm really stuck, I need a model for this shoot coming up, is there anyone you've got in mind? Or you could go to the website and find and just sort of use it like a traditional modelling agency and scroll through and find someone that would suit, and then message them through there. Because currently, the platforms that we have got, we use Facebook. I think you guys will probably run the forums as well, where you sort of like put a post out there to say, I'm looking for someone to collaborate with. And often you'll get sort of 2 to 3 replies, which is fine, but it might not necessarily be the people that you're looking for, who might specifically sort of, they might not fulfill that vision that you've got. So you're quite restricted, other than like having maybe friends that around uni. There isn't really a lot of, isn't a diverse like place to go in order to have a wide accessible range to different people.
Yeah. So you've just got the website. Have you got like socials and that, or any other platforms?
We've got a Facebook account, and we've got our Instagram account, which is probably the main one where we share everything. So like our trait creatives, featured traits, that's it, sorry. So that's where we will just pick some of the creatives that we work with, and we'll just showcase some of their work just on our Instagram as well. And then it's mainly Instagram that we use.
In terms of like inspiration for your final major project, where you've said that obviously you wanted a place for people to find models and other creatives to work with, but how did your concept evolve from the start to the finish?
Yeah, so it is sort of that thing where we first started, initially our concept was more about models and being able to find different people to shoot with when you've got certain projects you're looking for, because that was like the key point that we were thinking. Like throughout first year and into second, we did a lot of photography, and trying to broaden your portfolio is quite difficult if you're working with the same models over and over again. So initially that's what like sparked us to create Trait Agency, was to give students like an accessible area to find other models. And as we were sort of developing the project, we kept thinking, well, what if you're, say, on a fashion styling course and aren't a photographer and need a photographer to work with? Like, it's the same problem. You don't necessarily have an easy way to find people to collaborate with. And so we sort of developed, and our project evolved, and we turned it more into like a creative agency rather than just a standard like modelling agency.
Yeah.
So then like features on the website changed, so we had like the modelling sections, but then we also had a little bracket for creatives, and under that would be photographers, graphic designers, videographers, so that anyone, even if you're not a subscriber, whatever, could come on and see who we have available, who you could collaborate with. And that's I think a really unique and great way to sort of help promote one's like different students' work, but also just allow outsiders even to like collaborate with students, because it just sort of gives you, I don't know, a bit more of a platform to sort of showcase your stuff, as well as putting it out there to say you're looking forward to like collaborating with more people and wanting, like being on this sort of platform. It shows that you're interested in developing your portfolio, you're wanting to collaborate more and get yourself out there. So
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, coronavirus is such a big thing at the moment. We're all being affected by it some way. How did it affect your project? Because obviously you two have done it together. So obviously, like communication between the two, you can't like meet up and do it together because obviously we've all had to go home or wherever. How did you deal with that? Did it adapt your project at all?
It was obviously difficult to begin with because the main project is to get everyone to collaborate with each other, which obviously means like physically being in the same room as each other
Yeah.
and closer than 2 meters apart. Yeah, I think we did struggle it to begin with, but then obviously we have like a lot of channels. So we've got like Instagram, we've got our messaging and Zoom calls, so we could like talk to each other about it. And then luckily for us, it was, although we couldn't actually help people collaborate, we could still get a lot of people on board and we could still message them and showcase their work ready for like when you guys come back next year. So then we're going to have like a bigger sort of portfolio of everyone on there. So obviously within time we can build up and add more people and get more content from them as well.
Yeah.
Did anything change on your project? Like, did you have things planned that you had to change?
Specifically for me, yes, because like Holly said, a lot of what I was planning to do within Trait, I wanted to sort of create a film and almost a bit of an advert actually for Trait Agency to put around uni to encourage students to get involved. And to do that, I was planning to go along to different collaborations formed by Trait. So we had a girl in our course for fashion intern, Emily Rose Peck, and she needed a makeup artist and a photographer. And the night before our shoot, her makeup artist cancelled. So there I was, like trying to find someone for her. And actually the shoot came together so wonderfully. And it just showed that Trait Agency works, it's needed.
Yeah.
And what I was going to do is sort of film these behind the scenes bits of Trait collaborations and use that to sort of showcase what we do. And obviously lockdown happened and I couldn't do any of that anymore. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I actually involved and started and created a magazine for Trait Agency, which was sort of a little like same sort of thing, a bit of a behind the scenes, so it sort of explained what we do, but more so it showcased a lot of students' work and what they were doing, and sort of I wanted it to be a source of inspiration. So although we're in lockdown, although, you know, creativity is a bit dulled at the minute and you can't get out and do what you want to do, it was a nice way to reflect on what students had done and what they are doing in lockdown, and sort of give them that little bit of inspiration to think, oh, like when everything sort of gets back to normality, you know, I want to do something, I want to get out there, I want to go and shoot. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it in the end. It was definitely a huge change compared to like a little part of my element that I thought I was going to do initially.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were supported by the uni and by the lecturers during this time?
Yeah, definitely, because we've been really lucky to have such a small like course group, so there was obviously only 8 of us. We were able to like just be able to message Rachel or John and just call them and just be like, we need some help. Or like I said, because we did have such a small group, we can also just ask each other as well. So like help and collaborations, like behind the scenes videos. So we've all been able to help each other in different ways, which has been really good.
And then obviously you said that in our course we do a lot of photography and it's finding models and finding other people to collaborate with. But what modules do you think really helped you throughout the 2 years before you started your 3rd year and final major project? What modules helped you to come up with this idea?
I think the one that stands out for me is we did the business module, which from there we sort of created our own publication, whether that be a fully fledged magazine or a little zine or whatever it was. But that looked into a lot of how are you going to, what are your revenue streams going to be? How are you going to turn it into a business? And for us taking on Trait, it was very much a business. Like we hadn't specifically looked into anything more along the lines of just a project, so just a fashion film or just this. So we were now looking at it as a big picture, like how are we going to make this a reality? How are we going to go from just the concept and a lovely idea to actually we need to make this happen now? And that unit specifically, although we didn't actually realise a lot of it other than creating the magazine, all the revenue sort of streams, etc., are hypothetical. But by doing that, I was so much more well informed to think, okay, if I need to print off this many business cards, how am I going to get it out? How am I going to utilise all these different sort of promotional marketing bits out there. Things like social media is amazing. Holly and I, like, that was like, as Holly said, like, it was our main way to push it out, and it's such a great platform because it's free, and a lot of people within, like, students that communicate through that as well. So by doing these sort of past units like fashion business, I knew how to, like, jump on a magazine when I had to change my unit, so that was quite nice because I actually had the sort of comfort, like, okay, I can do that, that's fine. But also it was more about thinking about, okay, how am I going to include adverts? What would be suitable? Would my market want to actually see an advert in my agency, like, publication, sorry. So yeah, I think that one for me really helped, this unit in particular.
I think, like, doing Carbon Live as well, and getting other people involved, like obviously emailing businesses, ringing businesses, and like promoting it, because like a large part of Trait is to promote it and to get it out there, especially because it's such a new platform and everyone's used to using Facebook and like just messaging each other. For this new platform to come out, it's obviously a bit like worrying. So for us to be able to have other people and to know how to promote it, like we did with Carbon Live, we was able to get out to more people and using like our friends and everything to help promote, and Instagram stories and stuff. So Carbon Live definitely helped a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously you two were the only people on your course that did it in a pair. How did you find doing your final major project as a two?
I think it was easy. I think it was not easy, but like it was helpful because I knew that Tegan knew what I was doing and I knew what Tegan was doing, so we was able to message each other, and obviously we was able to help each other a lot more. We obviously we did our own parts of the project as well, like Tegan focused mainly on like the magazine and like the video and stuff, and I did like the website, so we were able to work alone but then obviously combine it together to make like a bigger project. And I think because of how big Trait is, we needed more than one person to do it. We needed like another one person for like to get people on board, and then for like the social media and everything. So I think it was a lot easier to have two people doing it.
How did you find, well, this is more to Holly, how did you find living in Southampton, because you obviously had to move? Did you enjoy the city?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've been here for 4 years now, and each year has been so different because it's just meeting so many new people. It was a bit, being here whilst like doing the final major project during lockdown was good because I knew that obviously I had all my friends here, but then it was also a bit, I wanted a lot of alone time and sort of thing, and you can't really just shut your door sort of thing. So but there is a lot of different things to be able to do in Southampton, like a lot of nightclubs and really good shops and everything, and everyone's just really nice, and it's just so many nice people here. So yeah. It's really good.
And how did you find studying in Solent and like studying our specific course?
I really enjoyed it. I think because it was a mix of loads of different things. So obviously I came to uni and I wanted to do magazine, but as I've gone through the 3 years here and I've learnt different things, I've changed my mind and I've learnt a lot more skills and techniques than I thought I would have done. And whether I go into something, whatever I go into, I know that I can take each bit from one of those projects to like put into my work and make it like better because I've had these different projects and opportunities to do different things.
Yeah, I think, like, touching on what Holly said, something that I found really valuable from this course is having such a diverse range of skill sets. Like, not only am I leaving with photography skills and how to make a magazine, but I've had sort of like the business side of things with that, and I understand so many more little things that although I don't really know what I want to do as such, I know that whatever I do want to pursue, whether it be I have such a little experience or loads of experience, I've got such a broad skill set that all these things sort of come together in many ways and overlap, that I feel like whatever I want to pursue, I'd be okay, because look at all of this that I've got behind me. And like Holly said, that we've got Rachel and John behind us who are so giving of their time and so supportive. I don't think I would have had that experience anywhere else.
And then also at the moment it's a little bit like up in the air about what's going to happen in September. Obviously we know when we're going back now, but we don't know how it's going to be at Solent and in Southampton, but in terms of advice for the first years starting in September, what would you say to them?
I would say personally, make sure you do turn up, and even if you're hungover, go there, because although like you might think that first year, you know, you're just learning things, but you do learn a lot of things. And then that's obviously when you meet all your friends and everything, and you don't want to miss out on the first year buzz, because you obviously like you meet loads of new friends, you get to know your tutors, and you're literally learning from the start. So like from the first lesson you're learning, and you think, oh, you're just going to miss one project, or like one day, but you could miss quite a lot. So I would just recommend just going in and just literally putting your all into it.
Yeah, and like I would say, right from the get-go, just push yourself, regardless of what the project is or what you've been set. Don't just do what you're set. Right from the first year, we had, you know, you have the photography studios available to you. You just have to book it out. It takes 2 seconds, a bit of planning, and you can do it as much as you want, and you can shoot as many times as you want. And you've got the Hatch, which has got incredible equipment that's available to us, and we're never going to have that again necessarily. So whilst you're there, just don't always just think about what you've got to do. Think more about what else can I do alongside it. Can I build my portfolio by doing this now, which will also go towards that project, or how can I push the project further by just putting a little bit more effort.
And like even if you don't have a project on, don't be scared to ask, or just to like do some photo shoots and stuff, because everything that you'll learn from like photography and illustration or whatever we learn, just do some of it whilst at home or in your free time, because then although you've got many like lessons to learn it, you're also teaching yourself. And like,
definitely.
I was too scared to like ask someone for help, but for like if you do a photo shoot, but there's people out there who want to help you, like not necessarily just the tutors but other students. So say if you want like a makeup artist, there'll be another makeup student who want to help because they want to improve their portfolio as well.
What would you say to people like us? So we're obviously going into our third year now. What would you say ready for your like our final major project?
In particular, something that I loved about, like I said, being in a project with Holly, I loved being able to bounce ideas off her. But the one thing that I found invaluable was asking myself questions. You know, force yourself to sort of detach yourself from the project and look at it as a consumer or someone that will use your project. Why are they going to use it? How are they going to do it? Because so often I'd wrap myself up in this is the idea that I'm working on, that I missed such simple key points that when I went to say our group and said, guys, oh, this is what I'm thinking, you know, they'd say things like, why don't you do this, or what, change it to make this the focus, or this is how you promote this. And I think they're like, why didn't I think that? But you get so wrapped up in the idea that you forget to sort of branch out and step away from it and think, well, no, well, am I going to particularly go to Instagram and want my name plastered there? Or, you know, just small things that if you ask yourself more questions and think, well, no, can I get more from it by doing it this way or this way? I feel like your project will develop more and ultimately be better, I think.
Yeah, and definitely like if you know what you want to do, or even if you have like a rough idea, to start researching now, because although you might think that you've got too much, but at least if you have too much, you can sort of pick different bits from that research and do a lot of like surveys, whether that's literally just asking your friends or your housemates or whatever, just getting as much information as you can. And if you have an idea, say for like Trait, we obviously looked at a lot of different like other modelling websites and just have a look at different ones that are already out there and sort of take bits from there and then add it to your own work and change it up and stuff.
And then where did the name Trait come from? Like, did you have a long process of deciding what it was, or was that the first thing you thought of and you were like, yes, I love that? Or
not a process, but when it was one of the first sort of like little meetings that Holly and I had, we went to Revs and sat in the cafe bar with a coffee and just sort of sat both on our laptops brainstorming, just writing down a whole list. And then eventually we came together and thought, which one do we like? Because we know you want it to be a bit snappy and a bit catchy, and I think something like a name can be quite intimidating, like choosing something to define the overall image of your project is it's a little bit scary, but it just sort of fell together. I think we both sort of unanimously went, like we like trait agency, sort of just seemed to fit.
We looked at like also what we wanted to do as well, because we didn't want to just focus on models. We wanted to look at creatives and sort of like their traits, so what they can bring to like the modelling the agency, so like whether they're photographer and everything. We just thought trait's quite a short name, and it's not, obviously it's not like, it kind of involves everyone, because it is looking at what they can do and stuff. So it was quite easy to, the worst part I think was just trying to find like the right font to make it happy. But the name was actually quite easy to think of.
And then you've said that you're not sure what you want to go into, but in terms of industry side, where do you want to see yourself, and what's like your dream job?
Well, I've already landed a job, luckily. So I'm a marketing assistant at Lion, which I obviously, like I said, like I didn't know what I wanted to go into, because obviously when I did come to uni, it was a lot of working with within magazines. And I think since sort of working with doing Carbon Live, and then working with Go Agency, working with influencers and sort of social media side, I did really enjoy that. And I think obviously like social media is such a big thing now, and I think it's just getting bigger and bigger with more brands using it, and obviously like just showcasing your portfolio. So I think going into what I'm doing, like the marketing assistant, is a great job. And then also I'm still learning a load of sort of different things, so then whether I stick with it or move on, at least I've learned from this job, and then I can take it over to another job.
And then will you be moving, because is it based in Bath, I think?
So it was, but because due to like obviously lockdown and COVID, they have closed their office. So currently we'll be working from home with a meeting in Bath every other week. But obviously that just shows that we can work from home, because obviously everything is online. We'll do like Zoom calls, and we've got like chats and stuff. But mainly it will be from home.
Have you started then, or are you not started quite yet?
I start on the 1st of July. So
that's very exciting.
I move home, and then 2 days later I start work.
Me? I don't exactly have an idea. I don't know. I sort of started uni thinking, right, I'm going to go to uni and I'm going to have a plan and I'll be sorted and I'll figure everything out. And I'm finished and I'm like, oh, now I have to get a job. But I think I'm looking more into marketing or graphic design even, maybe. Didn't do a ton of it, but throughout the projects you do have to do a lot of graphic design just within like magazines and your units. So I've really loved developing that skill, and since finishing uni I've got into illustration quite a lot, so those two sort of go hand in hand. And I think now it's just more about looking to see what's out there and just going for anything. And because regardless of what I do, if it might not be the right thing for me, at least I've got a year's experience or 2 years or so, and then I move on, and I'm just excited to see where I go. It is that thing of having so many different skills. I do feel comfortable that I can just go for it now.
Definitely.
So fab, thank you very much, girls. That's really helpful, definitely for people like us about to do our final major project, or even people looking at the course. If you just want to like tell us your socials.
Mine's just holly.andrew,
and my socials is Tegan Joy, and then my portfolio is on teganthompson.co.uk.
And what's the trait agency? How do you find that?
That's just on Instagram, which is trait.agency, and then on the website is traitagency.co.uk.
Sounds great. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Loved it.
And we will see you on the next one.